Welcome to Central Florida Salute YouTube. I'm at Trinity Springs in the Villages. It's a beautiful facility, and I have the leader of the veterans group here. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Mitch
Budzon.
Mitch Budzon.
Yep.
And I have, if you could see this, about 8 or 9 pages here. This gentleman's been all over the place. And you've got quite the story, my friend. Yeah, and it's all over the back, too, yeah. But anyway.
Walking billboard.
Yes, you are. You're walking history, too, I tell you, right? Tell me a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and let's start from high school and why you went into service.
Well, first off, I'm from Fort Wayne, Indiana. I was in high school, and my cousin, was in the, he was about 2 years my senior, and Korea was on. And the recruits would come to your house, and they talked to my brother about going into the, training for Korea. He could not make it because he was physically ill, so my cousin and I went in, and I went in a little bit prematurely, but at any rate, we trained at Camp Atterbury, at Camp McCoy, Wisconsin, and Camp Grayling in Michigan. So we did a lot of training, getting ready to go and prepare to go into Korea. The war had just ended, and so we didn't go into Korea at that time. After graduation in 1956, I went into the Air Force. We were on an isolated site. Okay, and the isolated site was north of Frobisher Bay. It was on the Northwest Territory, and it was just south of the dew line, or south of the North Pole. So we were above the dew line, and I could look out a window, and it was 85 below zero. So what we did was we were a radio radar operation, and there was only 25 of us. And out of that, there was 4 guys that came in. They had been drinking. And they came in and they said something wrong, and they beat me up. And one guy was a football player, and he had a fist about this big. And he had broken my nose, smashed my nose, knocked some teeth out. And because we were on an isolated site, there was nothing, any doctor or anything up there. There was a dentist, but he's an old cowboy guy playing. He says, I don't have any equipment to help you, because you got to get your nose fixed first before I can fix your teeth. So we were up there for 15 months, and we finally come back stateside, and the first thing I did was got my teeth fixed and my nose, surgery on my nose. And then I went to South Carolina and at Shaw Air Force Base, and they sent me on to Fort Bragg. So I went on to Fort Bragg, and next thing I know, we're in a immediate response mobile unit. And what it was like a pentagon, the things, and they backed the radio radar trucks back to the back of them, a trailer truck where you slept in, a trailer truck where you ate in, a trailer truck where you worked in, and those are all mobile, and they all fit back and forth.
Now, where is this?
At Fort Bragg, North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
And so we were attached to the 82nd Airborne. Only Air Force outfit. Now, the Airborne didn't like the Air Force, and they called us bus drivers because we always wore blue with the blue.
They didn't beat you up, did they? Good.
But anyway, so one of the guys that was an MP, the head of the MPs, found out I was a drummer. I didn't know how we found that out. And they needed a drummer, so they contacted me and asked me if I'd play, and I said, yeah, sure, I'll play. And so we went into the taverns in Combat Alley in Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Taverns on both sides of the street for 2 blocks. And we went into this place, and I saw this huge screen. What in the world is that? Oh, he says, that's to protect the beer bottles from coming at you. I says, do you guys play that bad? He says, no. Places. He says, they just get drunk, and they go to Fifth City immediately. I mean, they don't mess around. I mean, they're airborne,
Yeah.
So we went up there and we played. We were playing the drums and everything, and I thought, well, that was cool. But nobody ever messed with me, even though I was Air Force, because all the MPs would protect me. So that was great. So I got out of that, and But from the time that I had left on the isolated site and went to Fort Bragg was about 20 years. And the reason for that is I didn't want to go back and get beat up again. And so I started playing music. I had played music for 20 years. And, I went back in. And then I got back out again, and I was out for a little while.
You were out of the Air Force.
Yeah, out of the Air Force. I went back into the Air National Guard after the 20 years. I got out in '61, which we were there during Vietnam, loading aircraft to go to Vietnam. But I didn't.
Yeah, I saw that. You were a load master or something? Or?
Well, no. They just needed people. They needed equipment as fast as they could get it to Vietnam. And so they called us from the 82nd, because we didn't, weren't that busy, so we would help load the aircraft. But never had boots on the ground, so, that was a different story. And I got out of the military, and I stayed out for 20 years, and then I went back in to the Air National Guard, and I became an assistant crew chief. So while I was an assistant crew chief, I began working on the aircraft. Well, crew chiefs were permitted to go fly the aircraft to check it out. So I was able to go on my first flight, and I went on and I flew in an F-4, and we were flying by, and I'm telling you, it was so neat because we had a formation, and I could see eyeball to eyeball the guy and the next, because the canopies were just so perfect. So the pilot says, hey, he says, whatever you do, don't ever pull any cords or anything, because he says, the minute you do, we're out of here, So I had to keep my hands down here, and there was a thing down here to pull. So I put my hands over here so I wouldn't grab onto anything. And he says, we're going to do ADTs, combat quick, or, like they fly back,
Yeah, like a wing over?
Yeah, real quick turn, for military. Well, I thought, wow, all of a sudden, something flew over our heads, and I'm looking like this. All of a sudden, here we're flying, and we're going like this. And I'm thinking, I'm doing everything I can to keep from throwing up, because if I throw up in the mask.
On your face?
You know what I'm saying? And so it was just a comedy of errors. And we finally got through over there, and I said, hey, I don't want this. Being on a flight line, and we had what are called combat quick turns. And that's where they had waves of 4 aircraft made one wave. And sometimes you'd have 5 waves, which is 20 aircraft sitting at end of runways. And they couldn't shut them down because they had to rearm them and reload them to go back into what they call combat. So, that's where my ears got shot. I had bad hearing from that point on. And I decided, well, I'm going to go over to wing headquarters. So there was a position open as a wing historian. I was able to get that position. I went to the schooling, and then they called up for Desert Storm. And I was very fortunate to get called up to go to Desert Storm. And so I was getting ready to go to Desert Storm, and we had to stop over. So they put us in the Pentagon because stuff was coming in so rapidly from Saudi Arabia that already, the stuff was coming in. They said, hey, sit over here and start getting this stuff and start producing it. So by the time we got ready to ship over, the war had ended, 31 days. Again, no boots on the ground, and I'm thinking, wow. But anyway, so then we did such a good job, they asked to do what they call lessons learned. And so some of the lessons that were learned was when we first got over, the Air National Guard got there first, and then the Air Force. Well, the Air Force says, hey, we're going to take over. The Guard says, no, you're not. We were first on station. So that's really the way it happened, and it was just a comedy of errors. So then the lessons learned was first on station is in command, whether it's the Air Force or whatever. Secondly, the thing that they learned was everybody wanted money. Army wanted money, Air Force wanted money, everybody wanted funding. So they went back to the old thing of Army, Air Force, Navy, and Marines. That way they only had to give out money to two different, then those two outfits had to fight for the money, for the distribution.
Yeah, the regulars and the reserves.
Yeah. So that's how that ended up. And then I got out of that branch of the service, and I was out for I don't know how long, and all of a sudden the Army came up and asked me if I would work for Iraqi freedom. And I says, well, yeah, but I says, I'm retired. I can't. He says, you don't get paid. You can only get paid one time from the Air Force, but you can get a promotion, and you can get, badges or whatever. So I got out of the Air Force. I was a senior master first sergeant, which is equivalent to an E9. Pay-wise, only E8, but E9. And I got into the Indiana Guard and Reserve, in the Indiana Reserves, and I was in charge of training for people to get ready to go over into Iraq. And we were processing troops to go to Iraq. So we were doing that, and I was on the general staff with the generals, and then my commander says, look, he says, hey, he says, you're an E8, we're promoting to an E9. So I was a command sergeant major in the Army. Now, this is weird.
Wait a minute, you're in the Army now? Or?
No, I'm in the Army, Indiana Army Guard.
Oh, okay.
Army Reserves, right. Indiana Army Reserves. So all of a sudden, these guys, they come up and they're saluting me. And I said, what in the world?
You don't salute.
Yeah, what? He says, you're a command sergeant major. And I never experienced that, but that was cool. I like that. So anyway, I did that, and then when that ended up, Homeland Security came over and says, "Hey, we need people to take care of federal buildings in your area." So, which they did. They asked, they asked me, and I started doing that. And I got involved with a group that was. Military people, and that was our job, is to make sure that federal buildings or anything of that nature was guarded. So you had to put in things where you run baggage through and all that stuff. And so that was my career, but it took me 50 years to get 30 years of service. And all that time I was either in the military or a musician. I was playing the musician on the side. So when I got back, I was playing at the Heidelberg Inn in Heidelberg, Indiana, which is just a little bit, about 25 miles from Fort Wayne, and we were playing a polka band, and people would come in there and at a supper club, and they just loved it. We were having a ball, and we were just having a good time, and so they gave me the moniker Bam Bam Budzon, the world's famous drummer. Can you believe that? Man,
you didn't have to have a screen in front of you either.
No, I didn't. Hey, they were buying drinks for us, Hey, this is cool. But anyway, I did have a wonderful, wonderful career. And like I said, it's 30 years, and I also had the music. And when I was playing music, I was playing for Ronnie Speaks. I know some people might remember Ronnie Speaks. He was an Elvis impersonator, and he left from Fort Wayne. He played at the Sand Supper Club, and then he played in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. And he was in Gatlinburg for a long time. But whenever his drummer couldn't make it, he always called me up, and I went in and played for that, and that was fun, That was enjoyable. So, again, it was a tremendous, tremendous career, and,
very interesting career, too. You made the most of it, my friend.
Hey, look at me now.
Yeah.
We got one of the finest groups here.
I was going to ask you about that. How many people are in the group here?
Well, when we first came, it was 37. We're down to 20 now. And there's 2 in the hospital and 3 in memory care. But if you look at down there, we got this huge American flag on the wall, and they got everybody's picture on the wall.
Well, I'll tell you what. When we get done here, we'll go out there and take a look at it. All right?
We got the best.
You can show us where it is.
Yeah, we got the best POW table that you can get. These flags that are behind you, this is from our group. Our group paid for all these flags, including the Space Command flag, you know. So we have a wonderful, wonderful facility, and of all of the facilities in this area, this is if you look at this theater, you know, I mean, here we are in assisted living with a theater for 80 people. You know, we've got a salon next door to us that first, you know, they got like 5 chairs, you know, 2 for haircuts, 1 for pedicure, 1 for your nails, 1 for something else. They got a masseuse that comes in. So, hey,
Mitch,
we're going to get going.
I want to see the wall.
Okay, let's
But
go.
I'm going to tell you something. We're not going to do an advertisement for the place.
No,
It's a lovely place, and I really like it. People, by the way, people have treated us very, very nice since we've been here. And we may come back, because I guess you told me you have a few more people that you would like us to interview. But we're going to go there. Should we do the send-off over there?
Yeah, sure.
You know, but I just have one last question. You know, you did all that time, and how did you wind up here? I mean, you were from up north, and
well, we always bought in areas that were very popular, resort areas.
Yeah.
So we bought a place at Lehigh Acres and at North Shores in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and we also had a place in Gatlinburg. So we would come down and travel back around, and we heard about the villages. So we stopped here, and we were just here when we were starting to build Spanish Springs and a hospital.
oh, you've been over here a while.
Well, we moved in here in 2005, but that was clear back in 1990, you know, in that time. So we moved here, and my wife got Alzheimer's, and we found out that this place had the best memory care. And we thought, well, if she was going to have that, it's easier to transfer once you're here into a memory care than it is to try and go into a new place with memory care. Yeah. So that's what we did, and that was we were here. And then she passed away in 2023. So
oh, I'm sorry for your loss. But evidently, you guys had a great time together, you and your wife. But listen, we're going to go see that wall, and then we're going to say goodbye with a salute. You know, but I tell you, you're something, my friend. You
How
are
about,
something.
can I salute the camera like the other guy did?
What do you mean?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. But we got to do it out there. Because we're going to go look at the wall. You're going to show us the wall and the pictures and everything. And then we're going to say goodbye for this episode of Salute. So we'll take a break. We'll be right back.
All right. Here's where he got Irving.
Irving, yeah.
Yeah, we gave him a couple of pictures. This is the chaplain. We gave him an award here and also an award there for being our chaplain. And this one here, we go over here. This is one of the nicest POW tables.
Oh, yeah.
The reason I'm saying that is because we put down everything here. We got a prayer for a veteran, sleep on souls. You know, we have a little bit of everything. That's my combat boot from 82nd Airborne. It's got the zipper on it and my dog tag. There's my Wounded Warrior blanket. Here is a quilt from Quilts of Valor. And if you see that little bell there, every time you ring that bell, an angel gets his wings. And this tree lights up during the Christmas. Every branch and everything is here. So, well, that's just a beautiful area.
Yeah, you did a great job here, Mitch. You and the gang. Mitch, I want to thank you for inviting us here and the facility here. It's been wonderful. It's beautiful, nice wall here and everything. But it's time to say goodbye for this episode of Salute. To all our veterans out there, our active military and their family, we salute you for all you do. Till next time.
Amen.
Today I'm at AMVETS Post 2006, a major sponsor of Central Florida Salute. And I want to introduce to you the commander here, Ronnie Mack. Ronnie, tell us a little bit about AMVETS 2006. Where are you located? And
we are at 500 North Canal Street, Leesburg, Florida. It's right off of 441, between 441 and Main Street on Canal. Can't miss us. And we're a veterans organization, along with, we have an auxiliary and we have sons of veterans that are related some form or another to a veteran. And we do a lot for a lot of charitable donations and stuff to charities in the area and in the county. And we're a major sponsor to Central Florida Salute. We're proud of it. We're glad to be. You guys do a heck of a job, and we'll sponsor you as long as I'm here, we're going to sponsor you. So.
Well, I'll tell you what, we do, Sue and I really appreciate it. We're a two-person operation. Yep. And what we try to do with education and supporting our veterans community, and you supporting us is major thing. It's major.
We're glad to do it, Bob. We're glad to do it.
And you have sons here, you have auxiliary here. You've got a website too if somebody wants to join?
Yep, it's don't punch into www, it's amvets-2006.org, and it'll take you right to our website, Facebook page, and all that's there, and you'll be able to find that. The webmaster, he tries to get the calendar on there every month, anything pertinent. There's a lot of other links on there for veterans to find out where to get help for certain claims and stuff like that. Our webmaster's really into that stuff. That's the guy you ought to be interviewing right there. So,
well, you know what,
he's got
Ronnie?
a lot of stuff.
You have a lot of clout. You tell him to talk to me, and we'll get him on the show. Okay?
I can do that. I can
All
do
right.
that.
But I just want to, on behalf of Sue and myself, we want to thank AMVETS 2006 because you guys are the major players behind us, and we appreciate it.
But we just wish we could do more. We really do.
Thank you.
Thank you. You guys are awesome.